Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's report. It's for the 27th as we head towards the Memorial Weekend. Interesting that we're seeing a green candle forming just as we're getting white moving above magenta on a daily. That would have much more significance. We haven't seen that in a very long time. I don't even know. We'd have to go way back. All the way back over here in March to find when that last happened. So that would be pretty dramatic. Not to mention the white over the red also definitely has negative connotations. And of course, we've got it pretty straightforward there. 4162 is the ABM yellow. Below that, definitely want to be leaning towards short. And we even noticed this on the 50K. As we saw weakness, we had the strength coming through here, and then as soon as the white moved above red right there, and we had the magenta dipping below, it began a regular period of decline until the white dipped below the red right in this particular case. But then once magenta popped back above, white went above magenta again, then we started to see some softness. It was not super weak; it just went back and forth. So it's no reason to expect something different at this particular stage, given what we're seeing from those readings. From an NQ standpoint, already had developed a little bit more of a weak stance, but we're still in this rising mode of magenta and yellow, and very close to the 33 level, hasn't reached it. So if it pivots lower here, that would be significant from a downside projection. You can already see we had a magenta. This is Diocon paint, the original. With the steel crossing below, from the NASDAQ standpoint, cyan right there on the DOC, and you already have green below red. The propensity for lower in this particular case is clean. And from a gold standpoint, well, yeah, same old story, different day, but it's just part and parcel of what we're seeing from the Fed and this continued money print setup. And of course that has skyrocketed the euro, which only is problematic for the Eurozone. I thought I'd throw Bitcoin in here as well, but just simply because it's been interesting that we had this algo at the 39,000 from a retrace standpoint from the daily, and we got another one down at like 27,000. And it's been having trouble. Every time it gets just above, it ends up below. So it's either an accumulation spot for someone looking for an average weighted price, or just a continuation of dumping at this particular stage, with the white about to climb over magenta right there. You have the potential for additional weakness going into the day on that one. Just interesting to note, because when we look at it from an intraday standpoint, here's the 5K. So we had that power move to the upside. Magenta, was solid rising, even though we had the white move above it. We expected that we would revisit this area. It's kind of the equivalent of a positive extreme in a lot of senses as I review the data, particularly in shorter time frames of being only a 5,000 tick. But until it began to cross over, it was really one of those where I'm looking for that white to move above red. In this case, it happened there, and we had the dip of magenta below the 33, actually in this case below 25, as well as below yellow. You can see, though, as soon as red moves back above white, you get some heat. And then just a slightly lower re-entry point, which was much cleaner, also represented by a DOC spread where the cyan had moved above red on the DOC. Here, you could expect some weakness with the steel crossing below cyan under red, but that doesn't usually tend to have dramatic follow-through, and that's exactly what happened. It shot right back up towards the highs. But that led to a nice continuation move going down, because, again, not only are you looking for that white above magenta, but when it's above red, when you see it dip below red, you tend to see little pop-ups take place. In fact, that's exactly what happened here. But this was even cleaner from that standpoint, because the magenta had pretty much stayed above yellow even throughout most of this, and then crossed it relatively early. Another bar came through, everything started crossing over, and I have to get the paint to adapt to that configuration, because it's pretty straightforward. It's just not so simple when it comes to convincing the computer of the exact language that generates that. And then we had the peak of the white above, and it immediately dipped below, and we stayed above that 33 level until right about here. It was a little early because you're only at a 4 on the white MBI. The next bar certainly made it clear that yes, we were going to be heading a little bit lower. But it only did it for a short period of time. And you saw that really sharp turnaround at magenta led to a pop. Wasn't going to last once this white pop-up came through. It was pretty clear that it was just a matter of time before we saw a fade, and sure enough, it just took a little while. Literally the earliest configuration right about there. Even a little bit marginal, I'd say, just because the white's only at 6.5, 6.47 there. And certainly when it crosses the white, you have the clear indication. Fought back for a little bit, then faded right in there. And that brings us to where we are right now. We ended up with similar configurations, but again, fast dip of white underneath the red really just creates that kind of soft muck. And then once it popped back above, it finished out right back towards that 4188, which was a constant revisit for price supporting off of it. And then we went into the post-market, and yeah, ugly, because we get the red below the white, as well as then the magenta collapsing under white early on, literally at the end of that day print there. And that's where we're at right now. A little strong comeback here as the white had dipped below red and magenta was already over yellow, so that was within expectations right there. That kind of gives it a rundown. Makes it pretty straightforward. As always, though, we will keep updating these kind of special setups. Haven't developed more on this other one where paint bars are established and show me dots. And that I will incorporate that language into the paint once it's finalized and secure that it's exactly what we're looking for as far as specific language to give us the right colorings. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk again later.